Hello everyone. In this video, we will go through the amortization worksheet of the BA2 Plus calculator. We will solve problems involving amortization and sinking fund. The amortization worksheet works with the TVM worksheet. To activate the amortization worksheet, we press the second key and then the PV button. The amortization worksheet is the second function of the PV button. We need to enter two variables, P1 and P2. They are respectively the starting payment number and the ending payment number. When you apply for a loan, you are obligated to make periodic repayment to settle the loan. The first payment corresponds to payment number 1, the second payment number 2, and then we have payment number 3, payment number 4, etc. And P1 and P2 corresponds to these payment numbers. And then the calculator will automatically calculate three variables after we input P1 and P2. They are respectively BAL, PRN, and INT. BAL corresponds to the balance remaining, the outstanding balance of the loan after making payment P2. And then the next variable, PRN, corresponds to the total principal portion repaid between payment number P1 and payment number P2. The last variable, INT, corresponds to the total interest paid between payment number P1 and payment number P2. Let's take a look at the first example. Janice borrowed $35,000 on a loan that charged 6% compounded monthly. She agreed to make monthly payments for 4 years. Calculate the interest and the principal components of the fourth payment. First, we need to compute the amount of the monthly payment. Let's key in the frequencies, PY and CY. PY equals 12. The payments are made monthly. And then CY equals 12. The interest rate is compounded monthly. And then N, the total number of payments, monthly payments for 4 years. So N is 4 times 12 equals 48. IY, the nominal rate, 6%. PV is the amount of the loan, $35,000. And then we need to get the value of PMT. And FV is the outstanding balance of the loan at the end of the 4 years, which should be 0. For problems involving loans, the payments are made at the end of the payment interval. So the payment mode is N. Let's compute the payment amount in the calculator. Activate the frequency worksheet. Enter 12 for PY. And then CY equals 12 as well. And then move on to the TVM worksheet. Enter 48 for N. 6 for IY. And then PV is 35,000. Zero for FV. And we compute PMT. For the value of the PMT, the payment amount, we round to 2 decimals because cents is the smallest unit we can pay. So here, the payment amount is $821.98. We need to re-enter this value again with 2 decimals as PMT, or else the calculator will use all the decimal places stored in the calculator to make subsequent calculation. So we re-enter the number 821 0.98, not to forget the sign, the negative sign, and then press PMT to re-enter the value for PMT again. And then we can solve the problem regarding the interest and the principal components of the fourth payment. The value for P1 and P2. In this example, we are only interested in the fourth payment. So both P1 and P2 equal 4. Activate the amortization worksheet by pressing second and then amort, A-M-O-R-T. Enter 4 for P1, press 4 and then enter. Press the down arrow key to get P2 and enter 4 and press enter. The calculator will automatically calculate the remaining 3 variables. The first one, BAL, corresponds to the outstanding balance after the fourth payment. The outstanding balance is $32,392.61. And then press the down arrow key to get PRN. $656.73. And then press the down arrow again to get the interest portion, $165.25. We can ignore the sign for INT and PRN. The monthly payment amount is $821.98. Out of this, $656.73 is used to reduce the loan amount. And the $165.25 is used to pay the interest portion incurred in this period. For amortization problems, somehow we are interested in the amortization schedule. So the payment number here, I use the month. And the next is the PMT column, the payment amount. The interest portion, INT column. The principal repay, the PRN, and the outstanding balance, BAL. So to construct the amortization schedule, so month number 1, we have the fixed payment, $821.98. Key in the corresponding entries to get INT, PRN, and BAL. So month number 1 corresponds to payment number 1. So P1 and P2 equal 1. So enter 1 for P1, and then 1 for P2. And then we can compute the corresponding entry, BAL, and then the value for PRN. And next is the INT, the interest portion of the first payment. And then we can continue with the second payment, payment number 2. The same payment amount, and then key in P1 and P2 both equal 2. And then we can get the balance, the principal and the interest component accordingly. We can continue with payment number 3. So P1 and P2 equal 3. And then month number 4, P1 equals 4 and P2 equals 4 to get the corresponding entry. What if we want to know the total interest paid and total principal repaid of these first 4 payments? So we need to sum up the interest column as well as the principal column. The calculator, the amortization worksheet can do this for us. All right, key in P1 and P2. We are interested in the total interest and the total principal between payment number 1 and payment number 4. So we key in P1 equals 1 and P2 equals 4. Activate the amortization worksheet and then key in 1 for P1 and then 4 for P2. And then we get the balance. This is the outstanding balance after payment number 4. How about the total? Press the down arrow to get PRN. This value is the total principal repaid between payment number 1 and payment number 4, $2,607.39. You can add up the 4 numbers in the PRN columns to verify the numbers. And similarly, press the down arrow to get the total interest between payment number 1 and payment number 4, $680.53. This is the total of the 4 numbers in the INT column. What if we want to know the final size of the final payment? Calculate the size of the final payment along with the principal and interest component. So what is the payment number regarding the last payment? Monthly payments for 4 years. So the last payment corresponds to payment number 48. So we set P1 equals 48 and P2 equals 48 as well. Usually the size of the final payment is different from the size of the regular payment due to rounding. We have rounded the payment amount to 2 decimals. So we need to do some adjustment for the last payment. Activate the amortization worksheet and then key in P1, 48, P2, 48, and then we can get the balance. Here, the balance is negative 0.22. But for the last payment, after making the last payment, the balance should be exactly 0. And the difference here is due to rounding. Let's get the principal and the interest component first. The principal is $817.89. And then the interest, $4.09. Okay, recall we have round the numbers. In this example, we round the payment up. This is an overpayment. So in the end, for the last payment, we can adjust it by reducing the payment amount. The adjustment is negative $0.22. So the final payment equals the regular payment $821.98 minus 0.22. So we get $821.76. This is the size of the final payment. And we also need to adjust the principal repay, the PRN. Adjust by the same amount, negative 0.22. So the PRN is adjusted at $817.67. So the final answer, the size of the final payment is $821.76. The principal component is $817.67. And for the interest component, we do not need to make any adjustment, $4.09. And this completes the question. Let's take a look at the next example. A medium-sized company borrowed $200,000 for purchasing equipment for its expansion. The terms of the loan require end-of-quarter payments for 5 years at 8% compounded monthly. For accounting purposes, the company is interested in knowing the total interest and total principal paid during the 3rd year. First, we need to get the payment amount. PY is 4, end of quarter payments. And then CY is 12. The interest rate is compounded monthly. And the total number of payments, 20. Quarterly payments for 5 years. 5 times 4 is 20. IY is 8. PV, 200,000. We need to compute the PMT, and FV is 0. Payment mode, end. Get the payment amount. The frequency worksheet, PY equals 4. CY equals 12. N equals 20. IY equals 8. PY is 200,000. FV, 0. Compute PMT. Round to 2 decimal. So we need to re-enter the value for the PMT again with 2 decimal. The quarterly payment is $12,247.12. Not to forget the negative sign. And then key this in as the PMT variable. And then we can get to the amortization worksheet. Enter the value for P1 and P2. The question asks about the information during the 3rd year. We need to identify the payment numbers in the 3rd year. Quarterly payments. So in the 1st year, the payment numbers are 1, 2, 3, and 4. The 2nd year, the payment numbers are 5, 6, 7, and 8. So in the third year, the payment number start with 9 and up to 12. So activate the amortization worksheet by pressing second and then amort. Key in P1 equals 9. And then P2 is 12. We can get the balance, $89,664.45. This is the outstanding balance of the loan after payment number 12. The total principal plus the down arrow to get PRN. The total principal repay is $39,746.84. And the total interest $9,241.64. Let's do another question. The same scenario. In the second part, we want to calculate the size of the final payment along with the principal and interest components. The size of the final payment, quarterly payment for 5 years. So the final payment with payment number 20. We set P1 equals 20 and P2 equals 20. Key in 20 for P1. And then again, 20 for P2. Plus the down arrow to get BAL. The value of BAL should be 0. But now the balance is 0.06. Plus the down arrow to get the PRN and the INT. For the final payment, if BAL is not 0, we need to make adjustment. Recall we have rounded the numbers regarding the quarterly payment to 2 decimals. Originally, the value is $12,247 and then 0.1224. We round it to 12 cents. This is an underpayment. So the size of the final payment should be adjusted upward. By how much? By the 6 cents calculated as BAL here. So the final payment, we need to add the 6 cents. So the final payment is $12,247.18. We also need to adjust the value of the PRN. The calculated value is $12,005.41 plus the 6 cents. So the correct answer for PRN in this question is $12,005.47. We don't need to do any adjustment for the interest. $241.71 as obtained from the calculator. Let's take a look at another example. This is an example related to sinking fund. A nonprofit organization plans to have $250,000 available for a major renovation project in 6 years. To achieve this goal, the organization makes regular deposits into a sinking fund account at the end of every month, earning 3.8% interest compound semi-annually. How much should the organization deposit at the end of each month to reach their renovation fund goal in 6 years? Get the variables. PY is 12, monthly deposit. And CY is 2, the interest rate is compounded semi-annually. N is 72, monthly deposit for 6 years. IY 3.8. PV 0, because this is a sinking fund problem. The number 250,000 is the future value, the accumulated value. PMT, we need to compute it. And then we get the FV, 250,000. The payment mode is N. Let's get the payment amount. The frequencies. PY is 12. CY is 2. And then N 72. 3.8 for IY. PV is 0. FV 250,000. Compute PMT and round to 2 decimals. Re-enter this number again, 3099.71, not to forget the negative sign, and then PMT. The question is, for accounting purposes, the organization is interested in knowing the total interest earned during the second year. What is the value of P1 and P2? Monthly deposit. So in the second year, the payment number starts with 13. And ends at payment number 24. So activate the amortization worksheet. P1 equals 13. P2 24. And then we can get the balance. This is a sinking fund problem. So this balance corresponds to the accumulated balance after making payment number 24. And then the principal component and the interest component. For sinking fund problems, we are interested in the total interest, not the principal repaid. The principal repaid corresponds to the loan. So the total interest earned during the second year is $2,101.36. That's it for today's video. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.